Michelle, coming to you from Michigan at Quimby Cottage Knits on Instagram and MKHANSEN on Ravelry. And I thought I would get on today and just tell you a little bit about what I've been working on. Today, I'm wearing my Frid sweater. I did get dressed this morning, sort of. That's what the Frid is about. I brushed my hair for you, and I put on a little bit of makeup. But as we're still under quarantine here in Michigan, I am sort of dressed, meaning I'm wearing my most comfortable jeans and my Frid, which looks like a sweater, and it is, but it feels like pajamas, so that's awesome. So I'm still super comfortable. Of course, I'm wearing knitted socks and slippers because why wear shoes? And I'm just doing my best to stay cozy, and I hope that you are too. I thought I would start by telling you what I finished. And I know it's been a while since I podcast. I think it's been maybe 3 weeks. But I finally finished my Amarilli shawl. This shawl, I blocked it, but I folded it in half to block it. I'll show you in pictures. So I don't know if you can see that there's still like a little kind of bump here because I need to steam that out. This is the front, actually. I think I have to wear my glasses to see. Like the Fat Squirrel, I also need readers, and I wear glasses all the time. Usually I wear contacts and then I wear my readers, but when I first get up in the morning or sometimes at night, I will wear my glasses and then my readers on top because my prescription has changed a lot when I was younger, and so I wear a -6 glasses, and then I've now moved up to a positive 1.5, I think, or +2. These are +2. So it's taken me a while to realize that I probably just need to bite the bullet and get bifocals. So next time, I'm going to definitely get some. But I'll put in a picture of what I look like when I'm wearing my double glasses because my husband also thinks it is very attractive. But here's the thing. We have an argument in our family about whether or not when you are wearing... So when you wear your glasses, your kids used to call you 4 eyes, right? When you were a kid, because 2 times 2 is 4. So when you are wearing your glasses and then you put your readers on top, is it 2 times 2 times 2? So 8 eyes? Or is it 6 eyes? Because 2 plus 2 plus 2. So that's a big math debate that we have in our house. And you can go ahead and weigh in on the comments below and tell us what you think. Anyway, this is the Amarilli shawl, which I have finished. And it really is beautiful. It is very light and airy. It's knit in Brooklyn Tweed VALE, which is their lace weight. It's a Romney, I think. What is that? It's not Romney. I can't remember what it is at the moment. Well, it's one of those really bouncy sheets. Anyway, the yarn is very stretchy, very bouncy. This was knit in a size 3 needle, so really small. I love it. It's beautiful. It's very light, very airy. I imagine that I'm going to wear it in a beautiful way, you know, like this, with maybe like a cutie little jean jacket or something, maybe. Where's the end? Oh, and then look, how cute is that? And then it's so cute and toasty and nice and like beautiful, and then you can just see the beauty and those points. If you read the pattern, Amy van der Laar is the designer, and she says that the pattern reminds her of forced bulbs or bulbs as they come up, and I think she's right. I mean, these definitely look like little flowers, and then there's the beautiful stems below. So I started this. You start here at the top with the garter cast on, and then you go down to the bottom. So you're supposed to do 9 repeats. So this is a setup, I think, here. And then you have 9 repeats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then it still seemed like I had quite a bit of yarn left over. So I did a little math. I weighed my yarn, and I have all of those weights in my projects notes, but I went ahead and weighed, and then I added another repeat to that. It turned out by the time I got to these last rows, I was using between 9 and 10 grams per repeat. So the repeats are 14 rows. So it took about 9 or 10 grams. My scale is fine, but it doesn't weigh to like the 10th of the gram, so it's not really that precise. So I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but somewhere between 9 and 10, I would say, grams. And so I added another repeat. I probably about maybe here, somewhere around like repeat 5, I started hating it. I started hating it. And it really felt like a slog. I then decided to make it really hard for myself. And I timed my knitting, and the last rows took me 22 minutes each row to knit. And I was really dreading it. I was very encouraged by my friend Rick, who had knit this before. He assured me that I would love it when it was done and that I should persevere. And he was right. So I did. I finished this just before Easter, and then I blocked it, and now it is beautiful. The goal is to put this in the county fair, if that happens this year. But this is just really beautiful. And again, I'm going to hit it with some steam here. I think like these first top couple got a little stretched. But I just wanted to tell you, this wingspan of this is about 60 inches. So my blocking table is not that big. What I did was I put wires in these yarn overs here, and then I folded it in half like this. And I put a wire down the middle here to hold that. And that's why it's kind of creased there. When I hit it with steam, that will go away. So I ran wires across the top here. I put a crease one down the middle here. And then I went ahead and put wires just in these where the stems come down to make the points. Some people I noticed blocked it without the points. Some people blocked it with the points. I sort of liked blocking it with the points. Mine are a little sharp, but I think once I wear it a little bit, those will soften a little bit. But I just thought that was really, I liked that finished edge. So I went ahead and pinned those out. So this is my first finished object, and it took every bit. I started this, I think, on the 24th of March, and I finished it the day before Easter, and it took me the better part of the day. I was determined to be done by Easter. I really started to feel like it was some kind of Lenten penance, and I wanted it to be done. I am really, really pleased with the effort. I'll tell you, I don't know if I'm sure that if we were not on this quarantine, I would not have had the fortitude to stick this out. So in some ways, I'm grateful for that opportunity. There wasn't really a lot of other things to choose to do, especially once those rows started taking more than 17 minutes to knit one row. I was really hating. And also, this does not have many rest rows. Most of the rows you have to do something on the reverse as well. There are a few rows that you don't have to do anything, especially down here at the bottom. All that is lace that you work on the front, and on the back you just purl back. But most of this was a lot of work, and I'm glad that it's done, but I did sort of resent it a little bit towards the end. I was trying really hard not to have a lot of leftover yarn. So I ended up with this little ball left, and it is 16 grams, which means I could have probably done one more repeat and then had a little bit less leftover yarn, but I could not have done one more repeat, if you know what I mean. Like, in my heart, I didn't have it. I couldn't have done it. So I have this little bit left over. I really love this yarn a lot. It's really, really stretchy. It just has a ton of bounce to it. Look at that. It blocks beautifully. I love it so much. So I think what I would like to do is make a sweater out of this. Not this ball, but this yarn. But I don't want to knit in lace weight. So I think what I'll do is swatch, carrying two yarns together, and see if I can get a DK weight out of it. I don't know. I don't have a sweater in mind exactly what I want to do, but I love this yarn a lot. And I think Brooklyn Tweed has nice colors. I especially like this color. It's kind of a dusty rose color, and I think it's flattering on me. Well, on me. So we'll see. It's not a color that I usually see, but I think it's nice, and I'm kind of excited. But I also like that they have a nice navy, the Brooklyn Tweed, in this color. In this yarn. So I wouldn't mind making a nice navy sweater in this too. So we'll see. Anyway, 16 grams left over. So this took 2 balls, and it took a lot of knitting. So if you're a budget knitter, this is actually a really good budget project because it took me forever and it only took 2 balls of yarn. So there's that. Now, while I did that, I also wanted to knit this. So this is the Melissa shawl by, I think it's Marla Much. And I have made one of these before. It's the first thing that I choose when I'm going out the door. I always want this shawl, and so I love it so much. It's more like a scarf really than a shawl, and I think that's why I like it. The other reason I like it is that you can put it on and it always looks good. It's so easy to knit. It's absolutely mindless. I love that part of it. And my dear friend asked me to knit her a scarf. Apparently I've knit her lots of things, but not a scarf. So I decided to make this for her, even though I originally bought the yarn for myself. She has 2 coats. One is kind of a burnt orange color, and then one is gray, and I think that this color will be really great. I used, gosh, I can't remember the yarn. Lore. Did I use Lore? I can't remember the yarn I used for this. I'll put it down here, but I did love the yarn a lot. Hope to make a sweater out of that too. And again, with this one, I'll insert a picture of how I blocked it. I fold it in half, and you can see that fold, that little crease is kind of right there. That needs to be steamed out. I went ahead and put blocking wires between each one of these bobbles. It was super tedious, but I think it looks really nice. And this is that kind of, I love this so much because you can put it over twice, you can wrap it 3 times. It's plenty warm, it looks nice. I mean, if you are needing that kind of babushka look, you can pull it off here. Look at that. If it's snowing on you, it goes just like that, and you can, there's still plenty to wrap around. So I love it. And this is, as I said, this is a gift and it's going to go in the mail, but I loved it so much that I decided to cast on another one, which leads us right into my works in progress. And actually, this is the only one I have right now. A couple of years ago, my brother-in-law discovered my love of knitting. It took him a little while, and he very generously bought me this yarn. It is a CMV. It's a hand spun and it's hand dyed. So it's kind of an Aran weight. I think it's just a 2-ply yarn, but I think it's an Aran weight. I've never knit with hand spun before, but I've knit with yarns that are sort of like hand spun, like Noro. So I would say this is probably true to that. I just cast this on this morning to have something to knit. And again, it's that same Melissa shawl. The shawl asks you to cast on 5 stitches every row. I cast on 6 because I like it to be really long. And that's the only modification that I make, but I just go ahead and knit until I worry that I'm not going to have enough yarn, and then I bind off. So this is just the very beginning of it, but I really love it. It's, again, it's my favorite shawl. Mine, the one that I have is kind of an olive green. I love it. And I choose it all the time, so I figured another one would be a good idea. And since I have 2 balls of this, I thought, what a great use of this yarn. It's been sitting for a while in my stash. And then just for fun, these things are all together, and I really love just looking at these colors together. Aren't they pretty? I just, the leftover balls of this, and the little leftover ball of this were all together on the floor here just before I started podcasting. And I just thought, oh gosh, I just love those so much. I think that's one of the, and then even with this gold, maybe not, maybe just these, but I just love them all together. So I think that's pretty. So maybe if I have any leftovers, maybe I'll make like one of those tiny striped mittens or something striped out of these 2 colors. I just love how they look. Other adventures in knitting, because I have been doing so much work on that shawl, I didn't have, once I finished, okay, so when I finished the Melissa shawl, the blue one, then I really had to focus only on the Amarilli shawl. And I'm glad that I persevered in that way, but it meant that I didn't really have any easy knitting to do. So every so often there'd be a day or 2 that I didn't do any knitting, and I decided that I should go ahead and wind some sock yarn. So I wound this. The colors are not, I mean, this, I have all these lights on. It's a very cloudy and windy day here. The colors are really beautiful. This is the fiber. It's Dragonfly Fiber Company, and it's called Van Gogh's Bedroom, and it's really beautiful. And I'll put a picture here of what it looks like more true to color, but I wound it up. I'm going to start some socks out of this just for fun, plain vanilla socks. I don't need any purse knitting right now because I'm not going anywhere, but I thought it would be a good idea to wind some sock yarn because I sort of miss winding yarn having some socks. And this just seems like such a cheerful, just seemed like a cheerful knit. So I went ahead and wound that. So I'll be starting that probably today. I also wound this yarn today. This is Cascade Cotton Pima Cotton. And it's a DK weight. I'm going to knit the Julie Hoover Sayer top, which is a tank that's kind of a boat neck in the front and then a V in the back, but it's reversible. So you can put the V in the front and the boat neck in the back. And I had a couple of different sweaters in mind for this. And in the end, I really kind of had my heart set on the lace. You guys know that Vogue is giving out a free pattern every week. And I think Shibui is also. And the Vogue pattern that they gave out last week was called, I think it's called Leafy Lace number 7. I think is the name of the pattern. And I was really tempted to make it. And 2 of my friends had already made it. I really liked the way it looked. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized I just don't think I can do a big lace project because I just finished that Amarilli. And my fortitude is just beaten down by that shawl, which is so beautiful, but I just don't have it in me to do another complicated lace project. So this is the only yarn that I have a sweater slot in. So I decided I would go ahead and do that other top by Julie Hoover. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to swatch it today and see where I get with that. She calls for a DK weight. She actually calls for you to carry 2 Shibui yarns, 2 Pearl Soho yarns together to make a DK weight. But then you're supposed to knit it at 18 stitches. So I'm not sure how this is going to look like that in 18 stitches. If I don't like it, maybe I'll add a mohair to it. I'll just see. I don't have the mohair, so that would mean buying something. So we'll see with that. But anyway, so that's what this is going to be. So I have a lot of in the future knitting for this podcast, but not really a lot actually on the needles. Speaking of future knitting, I have this book, Knit Like a Latvian. And there are all these beautiful mittens in it. And so I decided to make these mittens, which are the mittens that are on the cover. Look at those. Aren't they beautiful? My plan is to knit them in, this is going to be like an aubergine color. In fact, I have that here in my basket. It's going to be this color, Brooklyn Tweed. This is Loft, the fingering version. And then I planned on doing, this is going to be kind of a light gray, like this is. And then, or maybe a cream. And then these are going to be a bright orange color. And I'm really excited to make them. But in the pattern, this is a Latvian book. And it's written by Leeva Ozolina. So every page just has like the charts on it, as you can see. This just, and then the deep directions are in the back with techniques and things like that. So you figure out what you want to do back here and then you apply it to the mitten. So this is definitely not a beginner book, but it's not so advanced that if you haven't knit mittens before, you can't follow it. You certainly can. Even so, for some reason, it took me a while to figure out that I've knit mittens before, color work, so I thought I could just use like a needle size 2. No, they were way too big. I'll put a picture here. I just started knitting the cuff. So then I went down to 1.5. No, ma'am, still too big. So guess who doesn't have any needles smaller than 1.5? Yeah, me. So I was online the other day and I ordered some size 1 needles, and if I can't get gauge on size 1 needle, I'm going to have to go down to 0s, friends, and you might have to pray for me because I'm not for sure. I've never knit on 0s before. And if you look at the book, it tells you that the pattern suggests that you use size 000 to 0, which means I'm very ambitious to go with a 1. What I'm thinking is that if I knit them in a 1 and then I put them in very hot water and agitate them just a little bit, they would shrink down just enough to make them a little bit warmer, and then I wouldn't have to go to a 0. I don't know why I'm so mightily resistant to that, but I really am, friends. If you are knitting with size 0 needles and it's okay, let me know that it's okay, because right now I'm not sure we can survive it. So that's my aspirational knitting or future knitting. That's where I'm going with this. So this is on hold until I get far enough that I can, until the supplies come so I can swatch again. This is going to be a sweater, a tank top, which I'm going to swatch today. And then I have a shawl and socks. So that's all. We've also been doing a few other things since we've been under quarantine. The kids have done a puzzle, and that was fun for them to do. Sarita decided to refinish our dining room table, which desperately needed it. So I'll put in some pictures of that. I was pretty proud of her for doing it, and I'm looking at it right now. It looks really great. It's really exciting to see that. And then she also did a bunch of these cranes. The goal, she did quite a few, but there's still not enough to do what her plan is. But we want to string them in a row and then maybe turn them into sort of curtains. We're not sure exactly where yet, but maybe at the cottage. And we're just trying to think of where would be a good spot where they would be in a good spot, but they wouldn't get too faded by the sun. I'd like them to stay up for a year or two if we could, because it's kind of I don't know, I just think it's cute. So we have that going on too. So that's all that we have going on. I also made muffins today, blue banana muffins, and I made them before and they were really great. And today we're calling them healthy muffins because somebody forgot sugar entirely. So the only sugar in it is the sugar that comes from the bananas. They actually taste fine, especially if you break them in half and then put a piece of chocolate bunny in the middle and then eat them like a sandwich. They're great that way. I did not usually I put chocolate chips and nuts in my muffins because that's how I like them and that's how the girls like them, but Mr. does not like nuts in his baked goods. So I did not do that, and now we're stuck with muffins that have no sugar in them and no chocolate and no nuts. So we're sort of camping here. I know that we're here at our house on a 31 days of I don't know what it's called, quarantine. We sort of call it lockdown. And we're okay here. And I know for some people it's been a little bit harder. It's been a little different, I think, for us because we have sort of a unique situation. We relocated here about a year and a half ago. It's almost been 2 years now. We relocated in May. So it's almost been 2 years for my husband's job. And once he got here, he was here about 6 months, and then they let him go in a reorganization. So we are living in a community where we don't really know anybody, and we're not necessarily connected to this community. So we've been social distancing all this time, and what we really look forward to is the opportunity to go to our little summer community and see our neighbors and friends there that we've known for, my husband's been going his whole life. My children have been going their whole lives. So we have friends, long-term friends there, and we're hopeful that we're going to be able to travel to that. And that's not a real issue, but I just wanted to say that I understand it's a long time to be waiting for your life to start. And for us, we've been practicing for quite a while. So I think for us, this time has maybe been a little bit easier than for some of you who haven't been going through this as long. And the time of uncertainty and no job, and that we understand what that's like. We've been in it for a while. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're staying safe with your health. I hope you're staying safe and healthy with your mental and emotional health as well. I know that these days can be really trying, and I'm grateful that we have our knitting. I'm grateful that we have our family. We've been playing a lot of cards. We've been doing a bit of cooking and a few projects around the house that we now have time to do. I actually bothered to hang pictures for a year and a half. These behind me were the only pictures we had hanging in the house anywhere. And I actually went through and got rid of a few things, made a stack of things, and then we hung a few pictures in a few other places. So it's starting to look a little bit homier here because I'm starting to understand that because of the economy being what it is, we might be in this place a lot longer than I thought. I had resisted hanging pictures because I kept thinking when Mr. gets a new job, we'll move, which probably is still true because that's what we've always done. But it looks like it's probably going to be a lot longer that we might be here. So I just decided to hang those pictures. I think that's all I have. I'm really, really bad at saying goodbye. So I'll see you guys on Instagram or on Ravelry, and thanks for stopping in. I'll talk to you later. Bye.